deck is. There's a lot of flavor that you can utilize in the Gundam card game, and so on and so forth. We do have our match set here for you guys, and we're going to be bringing you over to the table. It looks like it's going to be blue-white blockers over here with Leon to the left side, and we've got Shenlong Gundam with Vercil on the right side.
Yeah, this will be an interesting matchup based on the face cards we've shown here.
It's looking to be a little bit of aggro over here on the right side for Vercil. Is going to be going second within this one, and Leon with blue-white blockers not going to be doing anything. No sword on the first or the second turn, the level 2 turn, I should say. And so Vercil going to be playing a couple different bodies out onto the field right now, especially with that Rick Dom.
Yeah, and interesting. We've seen green blue Shinlong before, so it's cool to kind of see this iteration. I would say this is a little bit of a surprise. It's definitely a deck that exists, but it's not something you'd probably expect to see right now in a tournament.
Yeah, especially if you can catch an opponent off guard with that attack. That's going to be big in this one. But is just going to clear the EX base right there after the Lil Fritz played on the field. That Rick Dom having breach. You got to be careful when you block against that guy. Corsica base comes down onto the field, removing Vercil's EX base. And is going to go ahead and play that Taugeese down, that 4-2 body, and move into Leon's next turn, his level 4 turn.
Yeah, and as we see here, the green blue player just successfully doing what aggro does and going wide, while our blocker player is also doing their strategy. You know, everything's actually working how things should work, if you will.
And so looks like Leon playing the Striker pack. I love the Striker pack, right? Being able with the Earth Alliance to play down a nice little token right there and opting for the 2/4 token, just a big blocker to be able to promptly response to a lot of different situations and a lot of different bodies that Vercil is going to play out onto the field. Still sitting at 6 shields right now, and Vercil sitting at 5 with the Corsica base. Going to go to Vercil's level 5 turn. So especially now that you get into these, higher levels, you got a couple different options with you. We know Gundam RX is in here. Even the Shenlong Gundam, as you see on screen right here, is going to be an option that maybe is played down on the field. Going to pop that EX resource right here. It is going to go immediately with a pair.
Yeah, and the pair to have, because now he gets to destroy one of these blockers as well.
And so is going to go ahead and destroy that Lilfrith on the field and go ahead, remove that shield. Is going to be a burst to put into the hand, and now another swing with that Rick Dom coming in.
Yeah, so Leon here faced with a decision. Does he block with the 2/4 to put 3 damage on it, or does he give the Rick Diaz and then allow the breach to happen? Opting to, take that hit with the Striker Pack unit, the launcher.
So is going to be a way to keep that token onto the field. Now Rick Diaz is going to go ahead and block that swing. And now with that final swing from the Taugeese is going to go ahead, take a shield, put Leon down 2/4. Now we move into his level 5 turn. Still has a couple different bodies on the field to be able to apply some pressure, maybe block a couple more hits if he wants to. But now can start going into potentially something like an Ale Strike Gundam and Kira pair if he's got that available to him.
Yeah, we'll see if swinging with that Hyzak was the right move here in the future, because he could have definitely left the 2/2 unit standing and not swing it, so that this Rick Diaz didn't get the value of removing that Hyzak and could just swing into the Tallgeese or the Rick Dom now as well and take a 2-for-1, which is what card game players look for.
And so it looks like Leon is going to go for a Unicorn Gundam and Banager pair right now to be able to boost up his unit, +2 power and +2 health to remove this Rick Dom right here. Now just clearing out the board right now, as we saw in the last round, just preventing these aggro decks from going wide. Is thinking about swinging the Rick Dom, but holding it there, attaching a pair to it, is going to be able now to go ahead and clear, just do an even trade to remove the field entirely, tapping out all of his resources.
Yeah, and like I was saying, Leon was able to get so much value out of that Rick Diaz, removing a Shinlong and that Hyzak earlier. way too much value for what that card was supposed to do.
So now resetting is going to go with the Show of Resolve. And for Leon, right, especially when a more aggro rush like Vercil is playing goes ahead with a Show of Resolve, that's really great because that's 3 resources put in to not play any bodies on the field, right? Can allow you to build up the board a little bit, even though he gains a little bit of card advantage. And Vercil ends off his turn with a Zaku too.
Yeah, the tough part here is that going up against this blue-white list, you see they're on the Banagher and the Unicorn stuff. Banagher is going to keep your hand somewhat healthy while still boosting you because you get to draw one on link units.
And this Deval that's played onto the field for Leon's going to be really, really nice to be able not only, right, to have a base there, so then not every single swing is going to be taking a shield, but if he uses that activate main to tap 2 resources, he's going to be able to recover 2 HP on a unit, which in a blockers deck, that can be a big deal, right, to consistently heal your bodies.
100%. We could definitely see that card come up and actually really change the game here.
But doesn't opt for
Especially,
it on this turn.
yeah, and especially because we know Vercil will want to play pingers at some point. We have yet to see a gun tank or an Aksha.
Yeah, especially with these kind of blue-green aggro decks. A lot of them very often play, especially as Gun Tank, one of the best smaller units in the game. We, I think, see one in the hand right here, right over here on the right side, but looks like he's going to go ahead and tap 3. He's going to go ahead and play another Shenlong Gundam with that Breach 3, play Gundam RX, just widen the board yet again, not tap anything to allow like a free block and remove a body, just going to be a little patient right now.
Yeah, and we don't know if Vercil is running Wing Zero. Some of these green-blue players opt to play at the top end, couple version copies of Wing Zero.
Yeah, it might be more low to the ground, the highest range that you can get within this deck, maybe locked along like Shenlong or the Gundam RX. And so Leon's got a situation right now of what he wants to do, right? Does he want to try to go and pressure in? Going to start out, though, with that base to be able to heal to, as I mentioned, only put 1 damage on this full armor Unicorn Gundam. Definitely nice, especially if you don't need to tap out for all the bodies to play, but is going to tap a couple more to go ahead and pair up, is going to go ahead with that Amuro Ray to be able to rest the Gundam RX and now clear it with that Unicorn. That's a nice sequence.
Yeah, and also the boosting of the Sliver to a 4/5, that's now a big blocker that can really do some damage.
So now playing in the Overflowing Affection. I love this alternate art of the Overflowing Affection. One of my favorites in the Gundam card game. Is going to go ahead, draw 2 and trash 1. Looks like pitching a Unicorn on that. Did not need to try to find some pieces set up in the later turns or maybe play out some small bodies like this is what we've got.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted by all the shiny cards on Leon's board.
Yeah, it's one of those things with the alternate arts. It's you got to recognize which alternate arts are which and things like that. But Vercil going in with another Show of Resolve, continuing the card advantage, finally finds a base with that Corsica base. So he's going to go ahead, play that down onto the field and get the token down.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing almost a similar tale as last game, where the aggro player was just not able to go underneath and wide as fast as they needed to before the blockers came out.
And so playing down 2 tokens, because with Corsica base, if you've got one in the trash, right, you don't play the 1, you play the 2 instead. Now is going to go into Leon's turn right here. We'll see if he heals the Unicorn yet again. But no, is going to go with the Show of Resolve to start out, mirroring what Vercil is doing, just trying to get that card advantage. He's really digging at this point, right? Prioritizing the Overflowing Affection, the Show of Resolve, is really trying to find some certain pieces for this, and it might be this one right here.
Yeah, and Perfect Strike just being able to lift one of those tokens for free is really good right now. And honestly, Leon is in the more aggressive position while still being in the more defensive one at the same time due to
Yeah.
these blockers.
That perfect strike on deploy, if you do not know, choosing an enemy unit with 1 HP to return to the owner's hand, and as tokens, as we mentioned in the last round, tokens don't go back into the hand, they go back into the token deck. So that's a really nice way to remove a body that won't really come back out onto the field, and ending the turn with the Dabo base is going to heal 2 on this unicorn. Just try to ask for more resources from Vercil if he wants to try to remove this unicorn on the field.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we're just looking at what Blue White really wants to do. With these past 2 games, we've just seen how they can last long enough, despite the differing versions of the two, just how they can really just get to a point where they're in control of how the game goes from that point.
And so here's maybe an aggressive push for Vercil. There's 3 siege ploys that he's played back to back to back, resting so many of these blockers to only have Zwart as standing. And so looks like now he's going in at the base, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand what we're trying to accomplish here with these 3 siege ploys.
So with these, Wart is going to go ahead and block to remove that unit, and the breach does provide some damage on the base, but now these cards going in and swinging, going to put Leon down to 1 shield left remaining. So we'll see if Vercil playing more bodies. It looks like Gundam RX and a GM as well as a gun tank. The gun tank will do 1 damage to a rested unit, is going to opt for the unicorn and pass off the turn. Now his board is very wide, right? 6 different units available to him.
Yeah, but Vercil only has 1 card in hand, and our blue-white player still has 3 blockers on board and a pretty healthy hand. So we could definitely see 2 more blockers come down, and the unicorn could easily remove one of these units and still live. So
yeah, especially this Zaku 2 over here on the near side above the Gundam RX. That may be swinging for 3 damage, but on the defensive side, it goes back to 1 power. So it is going to be a relatively easy body to clear if you don't want to trade, like if you don't want to knockout for knockout in a sense. You just want to, clear bodies while still maintaining your board. So I guess the question is, where does he go in with these swings, especially with a couple of different blockers? The more swings that he does, right, that might mean less blockers that he has on the field for these potential attacks, especially with the opportunity maybe for a pair.
yeah, and if he has a link, he could just push for game here.
And especially with double Armoro triggers bursting in, he's got more than enough links that he can utilize right now, especially with some of these bodies on field. So just going to be going ahead now, is going to go in with the swing in after the pair and go in with no shield.
Yeah, and that's just like I was saying there. He could just go for game here and say, I'm going to put you on having a base and shields, and you did it. So I just win the game right here, and he just didn't even leave anything to chance.